Hey, James, how's it going?
Hey Matthew, how you doing, buddy? So we
Pretty
gotta
good.
wait about 10 seconds for Instagram to kick in, correct?
Yeah, about that.
You're on TikTok.
I'm just gonna wait for the link to populate over here.
Hello, our fellow TikTokians.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's on TikTok too. You're not? Are you streaming on TikTok as well, or no?
No, not on this platform.
Okay.
We're on we are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X.
All right. So I'm not going to be able to see any questions or comments. So you guys are going to have to read them to me, Matthew. You have them on yours, correct?
I can only see them from Facebook and YouTube.
Bruce, you're going to do the Instagram. So you're going to sign in into Instagram and look from one of the accounts, okay? And just sit in that chair and you can ask me questions. People, if people have something to say that, we want to let them engage, then you can start doing that. Okay. And you speak clearly. So, all right, we're here with the lovely Catalina and she's going to go ahead and finish a couple of boards for us. One's a charcuterie board made out of cherry. Let me flip my camera around. And the other one is a walnut one. Video settings. Actually, there's two. I'm sorry. There's two cherry boards. Back camera. Okay.
Uh, Tim Hank from YouTube says, "Hey guys, huge fan of Odie's. Have a bunch of the colors now too. Great stuff. Hey Tim, how you doing? That's
Awesome. That's
fantastic.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna love the colors. A lot of fun. You can unlimited possibilities.
Okay. Say hi, Catalina. You are live on camera in front of the entire planet.
Yeah. All right. So I got this cherry board here.
You want to
First
come
of
over
the
here? Why don't you come over here? Better
cherry
light.
cutting board or charcuterie board, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it.
There you go. Look at the light. Look how beautiful her face looks now. Before she looked like a vampire in the shadows.
That's
Right,
Now
right.
she's
Bruce?
just glowing.
Beautiful cutting board. Now I'm gonna debate after we finishing with the super duper dark oil. We're gonna apply a coat of the thinner oil, super duper dark oil, and then tomorrow we're gonna follow with the coat of the dark butter. That's our choice for today.
Awesome.
Doesn't have to be in this order. You can choose whatever for
So,
12 products.
so why did you pick? Why did you choose the super duper dark oil over the regular oil? Now, I have reasons why I would, but I want to hear from Catalina why she would. Now, for those that are watching, Catalina's reasoning is not always going to be the reason why you would do it, but it may be a reason you would do it. So, go ahead, explain.
Here at Odie Soil, we love the dark oil on a darker wood species like cherry. Cherry is a darker wood species and it looks really nice. It'll help us to pop up more the grain color and looks really nice. So
Yeah, so the cherry, most people like cherry because of its dark, rich, reddish colors and that it brings out. And when it ages, it oxidizes and gets darker in color and really vibrant. Well, the Odie's dark products actually will enhance that and speed up that process and get that oxidation going quicker and actually richening and darkening up the wood really beautiful. And actually, it's my go-to for cherry as well, the super duper dark or the regular Odie's dark. And when you're using those two finishes are somewhat interchangeable. They're both thinner in consistency. So if you're looking for a thinner finish, if your reasoning for going with the super duper was because it was a thinner finish, when it comes to the dark, it's not that necessary. The dark oils are actually thinner than the regular Odie's oil, but I would use the Odie's dark instead of the Odie's super duper in the case where I wanted more of a tactile feeling, a softer feeling, and a much higher sheen. But I'm going to go ahead and let Catalina get started.
and one more mention because
Yes.
I got a lot of questions the last 2 weeks. Like it's good to use the thinner oil on a dry piece, like a very aged piece, like old piece.
Yes and no.
Better.
Yes and no. Not necessarily the reasoning, but it no, yes and no. But let's get going. Viscosity doesn't really mean a whole lot when it comes to finishing. Unfortunately, the industry's got everybody duped into believing all the lies that they put out, the big chemical companies. And we'll get into this afterwards, after you do your little demo here. And then we can start talking about why we're different. You know, we are not a Me Too product. A lot, an old saying in the industry is Me Too. I'm a Me Too. It's a Me Too product. We have the same properties as this guy, and we're a hard wax oil too. And you see all these big companies out there all making the same finishes. They're all using linseed oil with an isocyanate catalyst and a cheap wax, and they're putting de-aromatized mineral spirits in there, and they're calling themselves solvent free. And people, what I'm going to tell you is they're liars. They
Hmm.
are liars, 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 cheats, steals, liars, and it's just downright evil. Those finishes most of them all contain solvents. The isocyanate catalyst or hardener, whatever you want to call it, that they're putting in there is not a safe thing. It's not a natural thing. It's a poison. It is a deadly poison. And these companies are all just basically lying to the public, and their finishes are just downright garbage anyway. They don't even work. It's really sad. So, we were going to start this live stream out as we are not a Me Too product, and that is correct. And one of the things that came to my mind when Matthew brought up the Me Too product thing, that all these other products are the same, was you know in today's world, everything's been homogenized. Men
Right.
are women, women are men. Clothing is androgynous. The damn cars all look the same. And then all these products out there are all pretty much the same, and they just have different names or different marketing companies behind them. And that is definitely not Odie's. We are unique. We stand out alone. I like to say we're a blue ocean strategy company. There's nobody else like us. There are a lot of guys that want to say they're like us, but they are not in any shape or form. And we are a very, very unique product in the industry. And we are not, our masters are not some big chemical company like BASF or Dow or Huntsman Group or whatever it may be that these other companies are buying their ingredients from. We don't buy from these big mega chemical companies, and our formulations are unique to us. They are actually unique to me. They are my formulations that I have painstakingly developed over the last 4+ decades. So this is truly a unique product, and we are not a Me Too product, and we don't believe in homogenization in any shape or form. It's not really a good thing. Being an individual is a good thing. Standing out and being different is a good thing. If everything is homogenized and everything's the same, life would be very boring. Very,
Yeah.
very.
It's like in those dystopian movies, you're going down into down the street and all the houses look the same. It's all, everything is very,
Sorry, I'm back.
Look how pretty that is.
Yeah, that's stunning.
Yes, you're right, Matthew, and that calls to mind, communist China, the communist revolution, where they're all wearing their Mao suits. Men are wearing the same clothes as women, and we're getting that today. We're seeing a lot of that in this world. It's kind of sad. We watch these little fashion show things, and these what do they call them, Tracy? The high fashion. What a joke! What
Hot couture.
hot couture? What a joke!
oh,
Catalina, you're gonna walk down the street with a big balloon on your head, and
No, thank you.
no,
And you have
sure?
to pay for that, no?
Yeah.
Like,
we have a couple more comments here. I just want to read them so that we can engage with the people
I, I,
watching.
I actually like Ginger Billy's depiction of high couture. Some people might know what I'm talking about. So go ahead, Matthew. Sorry, buddy. Look how good.
Tim
Hold it up
Tim
for us.
says he keeps going back to Catalina's videos for the right ratios when mixing up colors. He's done both the oil based and solvent based. Both are great depending on the project. Penguin
Beautiful.
Wrangler says my dad was a paint booth cleaner for General Motors,
Flip it over there.
exposed to so many chemicals. Now he is nearing 80
Very
and
nice.
has very bad tremors and think it's
Full
probably from the
size.
chemical exposure.
Yes,
Won't
it
use
is.
anything from anyone but Odie's because I don't want to mess with those chemicals. So yeah,
So,
that's fantastic.
so
I'm not
Penguin Wrangler,
professional.
look at our finisher's handbook we just put out.
Yeah.
We did a press release yesterday, worldwide press release.
It's on our website.
It's on our website. It's called the Finisher's Handbook. And this is for all of our viewers watching. Look it up and spread it, send it out to your friends and share it with your friends, share it with people you know, repost it as much as you can. The Finisher's Handbook shows you a listing of all the common chemicals and what they can do to you that are found in finishes. And
Yeah.
it is disgusting. I mean, very disgusting. And Catalina just finished this other one with Odie's. And, we don't have any of those deadly poisons in our finish. Want to hold that one up too? And pull them both up like this, one side by side. We don't have those deadly poisons in our finish, and there's no need for them. The sad truth of the matter is these big chemical companies put these chemicals in the finishes because it's cheap and
Yep.
because it makes their ineffective garbage oils dry and cure. And, instead of using the proper oils and processing the oils the right way, actually, they don't know how to process the oils the right way. If they did, I don't even think they would do it anyway because it would be too expensive for them and too difficult for them. So these companies don't give a darn about your safety, your health, your life. All they care about is your pocketbook, and they want to rob your pocketbook, and they want to rob your health. And the
Yep.
sad truth is, once they rob your health, they're big chemical companies. Tracy put a post out on Twitter today. Wanted me to write a tweet. I wrote one. I was Robert Kennedy's post about what he wants to do when he becomes part of the next administration, which hopefully is the Trump administration. And he's got a really, really good charge ahead of him. He wants to do some really, really good things. He wants to clean up our food, take out all the chemicals out of our food, clean up the pharmaceuticals industry, literally clean up big agriculture, which all three of those and more encompass what I call big chemical. The
Yep.
real problem is big chemical as a whole literally pumps out all these deadly toxic poisons. They make you sick. And then their pharmaceutical brethren or brothers, whatever you want to call them, give you more poison to try to cure you. And you're stuck in their loop. So this is the game, people. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, and smell the poison, literally. Okay? Don't believe the BS that these companies are telling you. And don't be sucked into their systems. And the reason why we're so different from everyone else, and people always ask, why is your finish so different? When we started out years ago, I'm going to flip the camera. We started out years ago. Nobody knew how to use our product because it was so different. And it was really hard to get people to understand it. And thank God that's changed. We've gotten the message out. We've taught people how to finish properly with our products. And
Uh-oh. We just lost James. Let's see if we can get him back.
okay, I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. So once we showed people how to use the finish and we started becoming more mainstream, now people understand the product. But the reality is the reason why people couldn't wrap their head around it at first is because they have been so indoctrinated and brainwashed into the systems that have been put in place by the big chemical companies, like the big three that I spoke of earlier. And those big chemical companies that make all the ingredients for all these little pseudo marketing companies, the ones you find in Belgium, the ones you find in France, the ones you find in Germany, the ones you may find in the USA, they call themselves one coat, the Spanish word for one, they're all copycats or generic finishes that came out with their version of the so-called hard wax oil that is really a polyurethane in disguise. They are isocyanate and a polyoil, which makes polyurethane. That is the scientific definition of polyurethane. But the funny thing is, all those companies out there, they are all derived and they all come from the film forming finish industry. And that film forming finish industry, the polyurethane part of the industry, was invented by the Nazis in Nazi Germany. And I talk about this often and people get offended, but too freaking bad. Speaking the truth is the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts some people. Sometimes the truth actually saves people's lives. Mostly it saves people's lives. So some people just get offended by the truth. You're not really getting hurt. You're just hurting yourself when you get offended. So the reality is that it was that whole paradigm was based upon an evil ideology. I think everybody watching would agree that Nazi Germany was evil, and if you don't agree that Nazi Germany was evil, then there's something wrong with you. So, and I'm not even speaking to you. But the reality is that that paradigm was developed by some really, really evil people. And a lot of our medical industry was developed in the Nazi Germany era. And I got news for you. Big pharma, big chemical, and some of the big medical stuff is pretty evil. Some of
Yeah.
it, sometimes they save people's lives. Actually, a lot of times they save people's lives. That's great. But the problem is that the guys that are behind the big pharma are behind the chemical companies that poisoned you in the first place, that make you rely on big pharma for the rest of your life. So they basically get you into their system and they imprison you and they keep you there. And this is the thing that most people don't understand. Big chemical is not just film forming finishes, it's not just the pharmaceutical, it's not paint, just paint, this and that. It's also in agriculture, it's pesticides, it's the chemicals they put in our foods. It's so big, it's insane.
It's in our food, it's in our clothes, it's in our cars, it's in our
And
cookware,
most
it's in
and
everything.
most people are just duped. Matthew and I had the privilege to do a demonstration before one of our distributors, and we had a few of the stores on, and we're talking, and I got to tell you, man, we had one guy in there asking questions. The rest of them were just like out to lunch. Nobody asked any questions because they just literally are brainwashed by this system that literally poisons them and enslaves them. And it's really quite odd. You watch certain people will wake up. Once you wake somebody up to this whole thing, man, they become obsessive, kind of like Matthew, actually.
Yeah.
I had the privilege to introduce him to a lot of this, and now he calls me up on a daily basis telling me what he's seeing. And can you believe this? Can you believe that? I picked up this stuff. I always like to eat this packet, this cookie or whatever it is, and I found out it's got this dye in it, it's got this poison and that in it. It's really
Really
sad.
bad. Yeah.
So Odie's Oil, we are a blue ocean strategy company. We're completely different than anything else out there. There are people that try to call themselves us, and they are not us. And how many finishes could you put on with your bare hands that is effective?
That is effective. Yeah.
Odie's is effective and more effective than the chemical poison they're putting out. Way more. I would say probably hundreds of times more effective than the chemical poisons that they're putting out. So Catalina, you want to go ahead and finish another board? I went on a rant. So I'm going to let you finish this other board.
I think Bruce had some questions.
And I'm going to let people ask questions. Go ahead.
Bruce.
Let me make sure I get to the first one.
And by the way, in the background, there is our Odie's Revolution Humvee. So,
That's going to be getting detailed with Odie's here soon too, right?
yep, that was made by Black Dog Customs, Mike Vaden up in Georgia, Madison, Georgia. He's one of the top Humvee guys in the country or in the world. This is a true military Humvee, and the kind Bruce used to drive when he was in the military. And what a fantastic truck. It's a 2007 1165 turbo truck. We're going to detail the entire thing, all the paint, all the metal, all the seats, the plastic, the leather, everything in it. Okay. Even the tires and rims. So you'll get to see that probably sometime next week. And that is another reason why we are a unique product. Our product can be used on pretty much any surface you want to put it on.
Pretty
So-
much everything. Yeah. I just made a post today. We, officially being sold at Spruce Aircraft Supply. They tested it on the exterior of a plane or a jet. Absolutely fell in love with it, and they're carrying it now. I went to go see the Greenwood Military Aviation Base museum up here, and they were so excited and very, very interested. So we're going to be going up there and doing some demos on some plane parts, interior, exterior, all kinds of different things. So pretty cool. There's no no other finish that can claim all those qualities, from your floors to your charcuterie boards to a plane to a jet to a car to brick to concrete to all these things. One product. It's pretty amazing.
It's awesome, Matthew. Well, once again, our goal is to show people a better way, a safer way, a more effective way to finish. And if you want to learn more about the chemical nasties that are in all these other finishes, like I said, look up the finisher's handbook. It's
Yeah,
very
the
important.
Specifiers
It,
handbook.
it,
Yeah.
it just may save your life.
And that's a growing list, by the way. There's a very big list in there, but it's growing because there's so many of toxic ingredients out there in the finishes that it's hard to even get them all, list them all.
And a lot of people ask, one of the questions we were asked yesterday is why are you, tell them why you're so passionate about what you do and your product. Well, I'm so passionate about it because I know that these big chemical companies are literally poisoning people. At a young age, I found out that I was exposed to some really, really nasty solvents in a finish that me and my brother were using on a house on a tile floor in South Florida. And we both got very, very sick, very, very dizzy, very, very ill. Actually, my brother couldn't find his way out of the house. He got that wasted from the fumes coming off this finish. And the fumes were benzene, xylene, and toluene. And I had gone to the library to find out what those chemicals do to you and why we got so sick. I was about 11, 12 years old, and read about a horrible disease that they cause that's called AML leukemia, acute myeloid leukemia. It literally mutates your chromosomes. And you may not get sick with cancer right away. Usually it takes 10, 15, 20, 35 years. And
Yeah.
I learned that at a young age, kept that in my psyche, and it haunted me for many years. I used to talk about it to my friends that this is a horrible thing that you can get from these solvents. Matter of fact, when I was a lifeguard on the beach, when in my younger years, I remember the city used to put out mineral spirits out by the boardwalk for people to take the tar off of their feet because the beach sometimes tar would wash up on the beach. Well, I knew what was in that mineral spirits. There was benzene in those mineral spirits. And I pitched a fit. I actually pitched a fit with the city and told them, look, you got people and parents cleaning little children's feet with this stuff when they get tar on them. And you guys are going to get sued. You realize that this causes cancer and a horrible disease called AML leukemia, among other diseases. And my boss looked at me like I was crazy. And then I gave him the literature on it. And he freaked out, and they finally took the mineral spirits off the boardwalk. It's really sad. I don't know how many people I've had to educate on that subject. Well, fast forward to 2005, my father got sick, and it's a very rare disease, but it is caused directly from benzene exposure. My dad got sick, and it turned out he had AML leukemia, and it killed him within 5 weeks. So this is why I'm so passionate about this. I also have a good friend. Had a good friend that was a avid surfer, one of the top surfers in the country, and he actually would shape surfboards sometimes. And he died from a form of lung cancer from the chemicals that he was using in the surfboard manufacturing. So very, very sad. Can you hold that pretty piece of wood up for us, Catalina, lengthwise, just tight wise? Yeah, there you go. And
Um,
let's show it. There you go. Look at that
yeah,
pretty piece of cherry. Very,
yeah,
very nice.
nice. I love I
And
love
she'll, yeah, she'll buff these off and they'll be really pretty. So I got a
Peng-
buddy, I got a buddy who's making these little boards, and he's kind of down on his luck, and I've told a few restaurants and stores about what he does, and I'm going to show these off for him probably tonight or tomorrow, and hopefully they'll give him some nice big orders. Go ahead, Matthew. What were you going to say?
yeah, Penguin Wrangler made another comment. Odie's oil sells itself. I got a job to finish outdoor wooden furniture for a nursing home, mainly because of how safe the Odie's was. They loved that. And then one of the children of the residents were there, talked to them, and got another job to refinish benches at a local park. So um,
Hold on one second, ladies. What's the problem? You got a goofball? You got a goofball on? Okay.
Now just say hello to your TikTok fans. They're wondering why you're not addressing them.
Hi, TikTok fans. Sorry.
the
Well,
TikTokers.
what we're doing, everyone, what we're doing is we're streaming across multiple platforms. We're trying something kind of new. We normally do this in the studio upstairs, and it's a kind of a formal situation. I sit down on my couch and we talk. It's casual, but it's a nice setup. This is the first time we're streaming this way on TikTok because the app we have, for some reason, Matthew's not able to get TikTok to work on it. So I'm not ignoring you. Show them the boards as well, and I would like them to ask questions. That's great. I want you guys to engage with us. So, but let's show everybody the Humvee. Some people don't care about this kind of stuff, but what we're going to do is we're going to finish this entire truck. This was delivered to us about what, 2 weeks ago. And this is an 1165 2007 turbo model, decommissioned from the military. It is literally says on the truck, property of U.S. government. Pretty cool. Little like right here, the U.S. property. Isn't that cool, Matthew?
Yep.
So we'll detail this entire thing inside and out. And this is our Odie's Revolution mobile. And we got a special license plate coming for it and everything. And we'll probably do little videos and promotions with it and all that stuff. So if you want to be a soldier in the Odie's Revolution, join us. Spread the word. Start showing off our blogs, and look into the Finisher's Handbook. The Finisher's Handbook is amazing. My brother put that piece together, told him about what to look for. Matthew and Mike did the research to back up what I was telling them, and they went ahead and put together this Finisher's Handbook. And we just did a press release worldwide on it. It's all over the world. Share it with your friends. Real important, because you just may save some lives.
Yeah, it's the finisher's handbook, about the toxic chemicals that are in all the nasty finishes out there.
And who's not for saving lives? I mean, come on. All right. And if you're not for saving lives, we're probably not even interested in talking to you. So everybody's about, should be about good health and benefit what benefits humanity and growth for humanity, and real important. So one of the things that really ticks me off is all these chemical companies and marketing companies that are pushing these poison products. And, me, my wife, my friends, my family, Bruce's family, and Catalina's little boy, all of them were all being poisoned and exposed to this garbage that these
Yep.
companies are irresponsibly putting out, and that some of these people using the products just don't give a darn, or they just don't know better. So the reality is we all need to do our best to educate each other.
I think a lot of people don't know better, and there are some people that do know better, but then they're still tricked into thinking that
Yep.
they'll sacrifice that because they're getting a durable finish when they're not even getting a
They're
durable
not.
finish.
They're not. And
It's
then the other one used to be back in 2015, 2016. I was on social media, and oh God, the guys with the bird, the company with the bird on their can. I'm not going to name names. They're a German company, and they're pretty creepy. They did all kinds of campaigns against us. We were just a tiny little company back then. I think we didn't even break $100,000 in sales at that point a year. Now we sell millions all over the world. But the funny thing is, these guys attacked us viciously because they knew that we were something strong and a force to be reckoned with. And they used to try to say, "Oh, but it doesn't cure. It takes forever to takes slower to cure." And my statement was, well, first of all, our product cures way faster than theirs. They're pseudo hard wax oil, whatever they want to call it. But the funny thing was, my comment back was always, "Why would you trade a lifetime of health for 1 day of cure?
yeah,
Why would you trade your entire life of good health for 24 hours of cure time?" It's insanity.
it is
Okay.
definitely.
And then on top of it, Our product blows theirs away. It's far more durable. Their product you got to redo every year or two. Our product lasts a decade or more. And that's if you're using it on a regular basis. If you're not using it all the time, you're not walking on it every day, or it's hanging on your wall. It's on a beautiful bureau or a piece of furniture, or a chest of drawers, whatever. It's gonna be there forever. You never have to refinish it. So really interesting. But anyway, let's let the customers ask questions.
Your Gaiman, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Asked where you can find the handbook. I did put a link in the chat there.
It's on our
But
website.
it's on the website. Go to the blogs, and it's the most recent one in the blog posts. It
Bruce, you
is
got a question?
the Finishers and Specifiers Handbook of Coating Material Ingredients, Toxicity, and Environmental Hazards blog on the website.
Awesome. Bruce, what you got?
I got multiple things, so.
Good.
Lynn Home Timberco says, "What's up? What a shock." JD Salty Lions. I used Odie's oil and Odie's butter in a rosewood and resin epoxy piece. And over a year later, it looks like I just applied it yesterday.
Yes. And one of the things that you'll notice is Odie's gets better with age.
Yeah.
Literally, the finish even gets more clarity with age, and it gets shinier with age. It's really awesome. I mean, it's not like a poly finish or a film forming finishes that never looks as good as the day you put it down. Odie's just gets better with age.
Yeah. Those other finishes will never look as good as they did on day one. They only go downhill. They start to degrade, and as they get used and abused, they just get worse and worse. Because I was a spray guy for a long time before I was an Odie's guy, and I have pieces of furniture from the old paradigm with film forming finishes on them, the best of the best that I used at the according to the industry standards back then, and those pieces look terrible. And I'm dreading the day that I have to sand them down and redo them with Odie's, because of the fact of having to deal with that stuff one more time, to strip it off and sand it off and go through that process, which is not fun. But I will be looking forward to refinish them with Odie's. But it's very, very clear, that those pieces just do not stand up to the test of time. And they look like crap, and they feel like plastic, and they look like crap. And, yeah, look at that floor. And that was after a huge flood that you had in there.
We had a flood, 3 weeks ago? 3 or 4 weeks ago? The entire building flooded out. This floor is finished with Odie's oil. We had a water line break in here, and we, what is it, 2 inches of water on the floor in here, Bruce, for about 3 days?
Yeah.
Actually, it took about a week to get all the water out. So no water spots, no issues, no nothing. And to be honest with you, we didn't even finish buffing this entire floor off yet. So and it looks like glass, and it's not slippery. It's a non-slip surface. It's another game that the bird guys try to pull on us. Try to tell people it's going to be slippery. So anyway, any more questions?
Yes.
Yeah, Bruce, I'm going to let you talk because
Lynn Home
you're on
Timber
camera,
Company
dude.
also asked, I know, how does Odie's bond to epoxy versus wood? What would need to be done or need to be finished or refinished first?
Okay, so finish the wood and the epoxy at the same time. Not a problem. Odie bonds to epoxy beautifully. You're just going to wind up using a lot less Odie's oil on the epoxy than the wood.
Way
So,
less.
so works amazing on epoxy. So don't worry about it. Actually, a lot of epoxy resin users prefer Odie's. That's their finish of choice because of the way it works so well with epoxy. It'll bond to any surface. Please understand, you must understand, Odie's is a cross-linker, molecular cross-linker. It bonds molecularly to the surface you're applying it to. Don't be confused by the other brands that call themselves a molecular bond. They're scammers and charlatans and frauds. Their molecular bond is to their catalyst, not to
Yeah.
the surface that you're applying it to. So
They need a scratch pattern. You can't, like, for a lot of those other finishes, they want you to stop sanding at 150. So you're stuck with that kind of dull, flat look on your epoxy, as where with
yep,
Odie's, you can polish you could automotive
12,000
polish
grit. We don't
your
care.
12,000 grit right up, and it will still bond to the epoxy.
But
No
there's no
scratch.
reason to go to 12. There's no
No,
reason to
no,
go
yeah.
that high. If you're
Yeah, you
sanding
could.
properly, you can probably stop at 6, 800, even 1,000. But really, if you're sanding properly and you get it really down right, 600 grit, you're gonna have clear epoxy if you do it right. You just are.
Um, Yair has
Odie's a really big,
a
beautiful.
question here. He says, would you say that the chemicals you mentioned remain toxic after application, after they cure?
In some cases, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Some cases, yes, because a lot of those finishes contain heavy metals. And actually, even benzene. The weird thing is, benzene is, I think of benzene as a solvent. But the funny thing is well, that's not funny. The sad truth is they do soil tests in the environment in a lot of places.
They
And,
find them.
50 years ago, there might have been a gas station or a paint and body shop or a mechanic shop there 50, 60, 70 years ago. But the funny thing is when they dig the soil up and they test it, they find benzene contamination in the soil. And they literally have to dig all the soil up, get it all out of there, remediate. It becomes a Superfund site, nasty stuff. So yes, in a lot of cases, the chemicals remain there and are still poison. That's why when these companies say they're toy safe and food safe, it's a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry to using the word, but there's no other way to say it.
It is a
Full
bunch of
on
BS.
bullshit. It's child safe and toy safe and food safe after it cures. Well, if it wasn't food safe before it cured, it's not food safe after it cures.
No,
And
and
and I don't care what they're saying. The regulators may say, well, a lot of the regulators are out there, or the certifying agencies are paid for. You pay for those certifications, and a lot of it's all put up by the big chemical companies in the first place. It's
yeah,
the same scam as climate change and carbon credits and carbon dioxide being evil. Well, carbon dioxide is not a bad thing. Carbon dioxide is one of the building blocks of life. Without carbon dioxide, we'd be all dead. Okay. So this whole climate change and carbon dioxide scam is just another way to make you not look at the truth, the real poisons, which are the chemicals, the plastics, the hormone disruptors, and all the crap they're pumping into the environment. Those things are killing the animals and the environment much faster than carbon.
yeah.
Actually, without carbon, the environment wouldn't be here. So the people that are out there crying that carbon is evil, I'm beginning to wonder if they're just aliens or something, or demons, whatever the hell they may be. They're probably not even from this planet. It doesn't make any sense because carbon dioxide is the building block of life. Since when has carbon dioxide become evil? Doesn't make any sense. Well, they're distracting you from the truth. So when they put these toy safety things out, and this is VOC free and all this VOC, they're deferring from the truth, the real poisons, the real
So,
problems.
yeah, and it's
And
all like the acceptable levels to be classified in that group.
there's no
You know
acceptable levels
exactly.
of a of a hormone disruptors or a poison that's going to mutate your chromosomes.
A little
Let's
bit
put
is
it this
safe,
way.
but too much will kill you.
Graphene oxide. The latest, greatest thing is these graphene nanocoatings. Well, they are one atom thick, the thickness of an atom, one atom thick. They're literally like these atom-sized razor blades that slice into your cell walls and literally mutate your chromosomes once again. Your chromosomes is the recipe for your body to make cells, healthy cells. Well, once those chromosomes are mutated, they don't have the recipe to make the healthy cell anymore. So now it's making mutated cells. So the reality, and that gives eventually you keep making mutating cells until you wind up getting cancer. It may take 30 years, may take 10 years, may take 1 year, may take 1 month. It depends. It's literally like going into a casino. But the reality of this is that all it takes is one graphene nanoparticle to give you a mutated chromosome. So what is the allowable level? Matthew,
should be
they
should be
can't
nice.
count one atom out of a whole can of finishes.
Oh,
They
I
can't.
understand that. I know. That's why I say it's a scam.
It's a scam.
It's a
So,
scam, and
or one molecule or whatever.
I
It's a
feel
scam.
like it's not fair because I don't want to be subjected to that. I'm already subjected
Well,
to
the sad
the
truth is
forever
you
chemicals
you
and the this
you
and the
are
that
subjected to it every day. Your little
every day.
girl's subjected to it every day. Your wife is, Catalina is, my little buddy Adam is, my friend Bruce is, my wife is, my beautiful son Rocco is. All of us are subjected to the poisons that these big chemical companies put out. And then also, some of the sycophants that just love them and praise them that are spreading this stuff everywhere.
Yep.
So when you walk into a building, you are bombarded with a toxic soup. When you eat a hamburger or you go to the fast food joint, or even when you try to eat healthy and you go to the healthiest grocery store in town and you try to eat organic and everything, you're still being bombarded with
Yep.
all kinds of nasty chemicals put out by these big chemical companies that don't give a crap about your well-being.
They
In
only give a
fact,
crap of
they
their.
rather make you sick so their other end of their business can sell you pharmaceuticals.
It's all the same owners, right? They just want to make their shareholders happy and their
So one of,
stockholders.
one of the things I have for everybody, ask yourselves, why are natural products, even in the health industry, why have they been suppressed so much for the last 100+ years? Think about it. Well, the very people that made up our whole medical system are the same people that were originally behind the chemicals. And if you look it up, I don't want to name names, it's an elitist family. These guys literally backed the whole pharmaceutical industry and
and
made it
the
the mainstream.
and the education
And
too.
and we are nothing but their, I don't even want, how can I say it? We're like their serfs or slaves or whatever you want to call it. And it's really, really sad. So everybody, this my live stream and my message to everyone is to wake up, start asking questions, start educating yourself, start educating yourself on the things you're putting into your body, about the chemicals you're using in your home, the chemicals that your contractors are using in your house, the chemicals that your children are using on a daily basis, the chemicals that the doctors are pumping into your veins, the chemicals that are in the drugs and pharmaceuticals you're taking. Now, some of the pharmaceuticals are good and they're necessary, but not all of them. And
Not
there are
all.
also a lot of natural remedies out there. Now, I'm not the guy to say that every natural remedy is the greatest thing in the world because they're not either. But there are a lot of natural remedies. And God gave us everything on this planet, gave us our lives, and gave us a whole environment to thrive in and to live off of and to live in balance with. And that's what I'm talking about. Go ahead, Tracy. You got a question.
A couple of comments that kind of related, but
Go ahead. You got to speak up though, because you got to remember people don't hear you.
JD Salty Lion says, I have used Odie's on very large live edge tables as well as small end table size pieces. It's absolutely beautiful finish every time. And then he also says, Big Chem and Big Pharma have owned politicians for decades.
Yes.
Sad, but they're all on the take.
They're
Yes. Yes.
all on the dole, all on the take, lobbied
The
in.
sad truth is we have lobbyists in our countries, in most countries. Here's our unfinished staircase. This is our temporary construction staircase. Anyway, we have lobbyists and stuff in this country, and that's what they do. They lobby for big companies, not just chemical companies, big companies. And the sad truth is a lot of these politicians are owned by them,
Yep.
and they do their bidding because the politicians wouldn't have a career if they didn't. So it's up to the public and the citizens of this country and every other country in the world to literally demand good things and demand the truth and make decisions on what's good for them and what's not, and when they're being bullshitted and when they're being told the
And
truth.
that's getting harder too because of all the hormone disruptors and this and that and fluoride and all that stuff making people dumb and weak.
Yes. So the U.S. government just admitted that fluorosilicic acid lowers children's IQs and causes is a hormone disruptor, lowers your fertility, and is really bad for you. But the same people, the same government puts fluorosilicic acid in the water. So we're going to see what happens with this. I'm actually really happy. I've been listening to Robert Kennedy a lot, and I'm really happy with what I've been hearing him say. And I'm glad he kind of teamed up with Trump, and I actually think that maybe Kennedy can offer something really good that's been largely overlooked. And he vows to change the food that we eat for the better. And
Hopefully, we'll get James back. It seems like he.
got cut off. Am I there? Okay.
Yeah, you're back.
So really interesting. So hopefully he gets to do what he says he wants to do, and hopefully he does it. And hopefully we
Um,
start seeing a big change in this world.
Yer has another question. He says, "Any thoughts on the fumigation of lumber? Does the insecticide live on the inside of the wood?"
That's a really good question, and it's rare that I can't answer a question with. And I've been in the business for a very long time, and I imported many millions of dollars of exotic woods from South America, and we would have to fumigate every single container that came in. Some cases they use a gas, and that shouldn't remain. But yes, chemical pesticides can remain in the wood, and that's one of the reasons why, not just the only reason, but one of the main reasons why I would make sure I wore the proper protection when I was sanding wood, breathing in the dust. So yes, that's a really, really good question that I guess we can do some further research into, because
Yeah,
you slumped me, man. A good one. Rare. I mean, I don't think I think I'm usually able to answer every question that comes out.
I
Yeah,
guess
that's
it's
a good.
opposed.
But it's
The
a
wood.
question I've been asking myself for a long time, and I just came up recently because we had a grub. My friend's wood pile, he had some grubs in it, and there was a grub in this piece right here, and we got it out by using our delimonene, which is a food grade citrus solvent. It's literally a citrus flavoring, and I used it in this board, and I killed the grubs with it, the grub that was in there. Now, my question was at the time, yeah, when they start fumigating this wood and start putting Timbor on it and everything, is it unhealthy or is it healthy? I would imagine it's probably unhealthy.
I
So
know
it's
for sure.
another.
I know for sure what they treat the pallets and stuff with. You don't want to be breathing that stuff in.
So the best way to treat your wood is to properly dry it.
Properly
And
dry it and put it through a
when you
heat
have
treat
a
kill cycle, right?
Yes, when you have a proper kiln drying and kiln schedule on the species, there is such thing called a bug kill, and the bug kill will get the temperature up around 140, 145 degrees for, I don't know, so many hours. It's been many years
Three,
since I
two or
ran a
three
dry
days.
kiln.
2 or 3 days, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and that will kill the bugs that are in it. I used to have a dry kiln that I worked closely with up in Tacoma, Washington. It was called Sound Mill, and we used to dry all my mahogany there. They used to dry all the maple for Young Chang pianos, and I used to supply Fender and Tacoma Guitar with all their mahogany for their necks and the guitars for the backs and sides and their necks and their rosewood, Bolivian rosewood, believe it or not, the Palfero, or what do you call it? I don't want to get into the scientific names of it. So, all right, any more questions?
Yes.
We have a couple of Odie's questions.
Okay, we're going back over here. Catalina, you got questions yet? No? TikTok feeling
MJ Lumber.
left out?
The first, it's been
MJ Lumber, go ahead.
Does Odie's oil offer an oil for exterior product?
Yes.
Project, excuse me.
Yes, all of our regular oils are for exterior. The dark oils are not, but the regular oils are all for exterior, MJ. MJ Woodworks, is that what it's called?
MJ.
Kenj.
Yeah,
Okay.
all the clear line of finishes, and it's good to mention we highly recommend making a stain with their pigments for the
Yep.
ultimate UV protection.
Yep.
You can send us a DM or an email, and we'll be happy
So
to.
so I'm going to talk about a little more BS that's in the industry. So
Mhm.
so first of all, wood outside, the sun's going to win just about every time, unless you add a large amount of ultraviolet inhibitors, which is really pigment. The UV inhibitors that a lot of finishes say they have in their finishes that are clear, they don't last.
No.
And I don't care what urethane, what varnish, whatever, they're all going to fail, and they're going to fail very quickly outside. Ultraviolet light from the sun breaks everything down, everything down. It breaks stone down, it breaks mountains down. Okay. But if you add a large amount of pigment to it, you're going to have amazing UV protection. So the more opaque your stain is, or the darker, the richer your stain is, I mean, the more color you use, the more UV protection you're going to get. So we always recommend for an exterior gate or door or anything that's going to live outside in direct sunlight and harsh sunlight, put as much pigment as you can live with in it. And that's going to give you ultimate UV protection. So if you make it a solid opaque stain, it's never going to fade. Our colors are UV stable because they're made from iron oxide and metals. They're oxides of metals. And when metals are oxidized, that's it. That's their final state. They cannot go any further and they will not fade. So hope that answers that question. Any more?
Life of Jardines or Jardines. Can I use Odie's on an epoxy / resin sculpture?
Of course. Of course. Yes. And it'll work fantastic. So use the regular Odie's oil. Use very, very little. Very little. I mean, like just put a tiny bit on the tip of your finger.
Just enough to change the color of the epoxy, and you don't even really have to wait. You can just buff it in and buff it off on the epoxy.
Immediately. Yeah.
Yeah.
Work it in as far as it can go and then take it off. But start with putting a little on your finger and pushing it as far as it can go. And you'll get an idea of how far this product really could go before you start slathering it on. Because most people, the biggest mistake most people make is they use too much product. Our product will go 20 times further than a conventional water-based polyurethane. 20 times. Our little 9-ounce jar will cover 250 square feet. That's unheard of. So use very on oak, on wood.
Oh, yeah.
On
On
epoxy,
it's gonna
you're gonna
go
get
way
1,000 to 2,000 square feet on it. It's insane how far it's gonna go.
Related to that, someone's asking, how is the polish, the epoxy? I'm not exactly,
How is the polish
I guess maybe they're asking, how do you use it on the epoxy?
that-
See, you just work it in the epoxy. You can put, I would suggest if you're asking this question, you're new to it, put it on by hand, use a little rag or a little, or a white pad, a non-woven pad that won't scratch the epoxy, or you can even use a little cotton cloth, tiny amount, and work it in and then buff it off. And that is it. Now, the polish of your epoxy, the sheen of your epoxy, and the clarity of your epoxy is up to you. It's up to how finely you're sanding it. See you later, Catalina. Thank you.
Yeah, it's all in the preparation of the epoxy itself. If you want it crystal clear, water clear, you've got to polish it up and have it basically already looking crystal clear before the
You got
oil
to
is
sand it properly.
sanded.
Let's
Perfect.
most people get confused. They think polishing is just hitting it with a buffer. No, you need to
Right.
sand
Yeah.
it to the right,
Sand it. Yeah.
to the right grades. Any more questions?
Yeah, got a couple more. There seems from Slater's wood shop, there seems to be a misunderstanding about the butter and wax. When should these be put on a table once the Odie's oil is put on?
All right, so they don't have to be put on. Actually, I don't. If you're new to the products, I know Slater's is not new to our products because I've seen them around for a long time. So if you really got the Odie's oil and the Odie's super duper oil down pat, and you know how to use them with great success, and you've done many projects with them, and you've got it down, you can graduate into the butter or the wax. And when you're using the butter and the wax, traditionally, so both of those products, I'm gonna just classify them as waxes. I mean, the butter is really not a wax. That's why I coined that phrase butter for it, because it's a oil with a very, very high wax content. So, but let's just call them both wax for the sake of this live stream and getting people to understand a little more. Those are like a hard paste wax. A jar of Odie's butter on oak will probably cover about 1,000 square feet. A jar of Odie's wax on oak is going to cover about 1,000 square feet as well. So both of those products, you're going to use almost nothing. Now, traditionally, waxes, the industry, back when I was a young man, just a kid, the rule, the school of thumb, and the school of thought, and the rule of thumb for it was, you really shouldn't be waxing any paint or any polyurethanes or varnishes or lacquers for like 6 months after they're cured. That's a little obsessive, I think, in this day and age, especially. But if you want the best out of our wax, I would wait at least a week to 2 weeks before you put it on the surface. Same thing with our butter. The butter can be put on sooner, but I want to tell you to wait at least three or 4 days if you want the best out of it. Now, the butter, you could essentially put it on the next day, 24 hours later, or 2 days later, and then you'll get success with it. It'll look really nice. But if you want the ultimate out of it, I would wait at least a week to 2 weeks. And that's going to give you, you're going to really see more dramatic results with that. So the confusion there is that, yes, traditionally waxes shouldn't really be applied to surfaces until they're completely cured out. And so some people, 6 months. Well, yes, polyurethane, lacquer, varnish, all those finishes, they don't really cure fully. Full cure is around 6 months. A lot of companies go, our full cure is in 2 days or 3 days or 1 day or 5 hours or 5 days. Once again, they're lying to you. That may be their working time. That may not working time. That may be the time where you can use the surface or put your hands on it or walk on it, but it's still curing. Hence, one of the reasons why I say Odie just gets better with age, because it may cure in a day, but it's still curing over the course of weeks. Still really curing. All finishes are like that. In fact, they try to say our finish cures slow, but it doesn't. Actually, we cure faster than those guys. Those guys are all made up of linseed oil, soybean oil, mineral oil, and safflower oil, whatever crap they're using.
Yeah.
And those finishes, those oils don't normally dry very quickly. Mineral oil doesn't dry at all. The safflower oil, the linseed oil, the soybean oil, those don't dry. They take a long time to cure. And that's why they have to use these catalysts, these deadly poison catalysts, to get them to work and to get them to cure. And, so this is the industry. The industry's all smoke and mirrors, a lot of deception. And, I figured this out at a young age, very young age. And, I lived a lifetime of studying about it. And now I feel it's my part to do something about it and speak the truth for the public. But if you do look around and you look at all these other finishes, you hopefully you guys are wondering why these guys are all making water-based polyurethanes. They're all pretty much the same. They all go on the same way. They all dry pretty much the same way. They all have the same rules. They all have to deal with the same temperatures. They all have to deal with the same moisture, the moisture constraints, etc. They all have to use certain types of cleaners. And then you look at the pseudo hard wax oils out there. Same thing.
All the same.
They all come with a second can sitting on the top of them, and you got to dump that poison in there. Well, that second can is really bad stuff. Really bad stuff. That's where the pure poison is. And they all have the same rules and all the same. They're basically, if you look at their chemistry, it's all basically the same. A polyol and an isocyanate catalyst. Even in the German brand that comes in the white can with the little leaf on it, that that called themselves the original hard wax oil, total full of crap. They are a polyurethane.
Yep. They want you to roll it on now.
They're all of those finishes are polyurethanes, and weak ones at that.
And I about the wax too.
The only reason, I'm going to get back to this real quick, man. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. The only reason they started selling them as hard wax oils and they got the second can sitting on top is because of the whole movement against oil-based polyurethane. Because oil-based polyurethane was largely touted as high VOC because oil-based polyurethanes contain lots of solvent. 70%, sometimes 85, 90%, but usually around 70, 75% solvent. Well, when the VOC movement got out, the big chemical companies, and they wanted to, you to look over here and not see the real truth. They had to demonize something, just like they demonized carbon. They demonized VOCs. Well, not all VOCs are bad. You go outside and you smell a rose. You go outside and smell pine trees. You smell freshly cut grass. You smell, the flowers that you bought for your wife or whatever, or your husband bought for you. You're smelling VOCs. You mean to tell me the flower smell is bad for you? Roses are bad? Pine trees are bad? Grass is bad? No, no. This is an artificial reality that these big marketing companies have created to deceive the public into buying into their latest gimmick thing. And that's how they got that to push out there. But the other thing was they had to do something about their oil-based finishes. So what did they do? They separated the catalyst out and put it on the can on the top. They use de-aromatized mineral spirits, which still contains benzene. It just has, some of them are less than 2%, or some are less than 10%, some are less than 30%. It all depends on which which faction of the Exol or whatever other company that's making it now, de-aromatized mineral spirits you're getting. So that's how they got around the regulations from silly places like the state of California with their overly regulated fascist system in a way, because they regulate the hell out of business only to benefit certain businesses or certain elites. So this is the world we're living in, guys. And that model has been spread out throughout the entire world. And when you're picking up finishes in the hardware store, you're pretty much buying a finish from the same company over and over and over again.
It's the
Doesn't
illusion.
matter what brand it is. Go ahead, Matthew. What's that?
The illusion of choice.
The illusion of choice.
Yeah.
And that goes back to our blogs. If you're interested in any of this, if you find this intriguing and you want to learn more about it, we have a whole section on our website that's all about our blogs. And you can find all these blogs there. There's 18 of them now, or 20 of them, something like that. There's a lot of them.
Getting up there, yeah.
And there's all the research has been done and all the footnotes are there. You can see where we did it. And in recent time, we've been using the AI to back up and research what we researched to make sure that we are getting it all right. And I know I'm getting it right because I've been doing this since I was a kid. Now, like I said, I'm usually the inspiration for these blogs. I talk to my employees about what I know, what I've seen, the different finishes out there, the different chemicals, and then they go ahead and they do the research, and they literally fact check me, and they check to see if what I'm spitting out is the God's honest truth, and that's what these blogs are.
The blogs are not opinion pieces. They are factual.
They are factual. The scientific data and evidence to back it up. Now, we may make an opinion in the blog.
Yeah.
But they're usually very, if we make an opinion, it is a very logical opinion. It is a logical conclusion to come to after seeing what the truth that's in the blog. So look them up, share them with your friends, and join the Odie's Revolution. Become a soldier in the Odie's Revolution. Okay, that's why we bought this Humvee, because it is a revolution. And we're in a fight. And we're in a fight for freedom, and we're in a fight for the good of humanity and the health of humanity. And we want to make a good change in the world. We're not here just to get rich off you. Okay? Now, hopefully we do well while we're doing this. But the real goal is to educate the public on the truth. And the real goal is to save lives, to stop little children from getting poisoned, to stop, people's lives being destroyed by big chemical companies that don't give a crap about you. I know multiple people's lives who've been destroyed.
Yep. Me too.
And quite frankly, I've got my own health issues from literally from the environment I've lived in my whole life. I mean, I'm very sensitive to all kinds of things. So I have to eat a very, very healthy diet. I have to exercise regularly. I have to drink clean water. Um, my friends around me, that I won't even drink out of a plastic bottle if you paid me because of all the hormone disruptors and all the crap that's in the plastic. Plus, it just don't make me feel good.
Yeah, and the studies keep coming out, because it was microplastics, and now like it's nano-sized plastics. That a 1 gallon bottle of water contains up to like 250,000 nanoparticles of plastic in it. It's scary. It's crazy. Yair has another comment about UV protection. He says, for an outdoor bench with moderate sun exposure, do I understand correctly that it will turn gray unless I add pigment? That's correct.
Yeah, so the wood's going to turn gray outside.
Yeah.
That's what the ultraviolet light does to it. It breaks down the cellulose fiber of the wood, oxidizes it, and then eventually it turns black, then gray. And it just gets nasty. Um,
Yep.
this is another funny thing. I just want to bring this up. It always ekes me when I was manufacturing floors and I was woodworking. I was heavily into woodworking in the 90s. And in the 90s, everything, natural wood was really all the rage, man. Beautiful reds and Brazilian cherry and mahogany. Mahogany was like the hottest thing you could get. That's why I wound up in the mahogany industry, and I wound up setting up one of the first sustainable forestry plans in the world for genuine mahogany. But anyway, fast forward to like early 2000s, like 2005, 2004, 2005, the whole gray movement came in.
Yeah.
And every woman that walked in my showroom wanted a gray floor in their house, but they wanted their exterior Ipe deck to be beautiful and fresh and
Natural.
pretty looking and natural looking as the day it was put down, which is upside down and backwards.
Yep.
And that's the world we're living in today. Things are upside down and backwards. Outside wood is not supposed to be shiny, fresh, and new forever. It's just not. It's not a reality unless you're staining it. Unless you're putting an opaque stain on or really staining it, keeping up regularly. Even if you're keeping up with regular, it's going to change. I don't care what finish you put it on. But what used to eke me that these people would want gray, weathered driftwood look in their house, but outside they wanted everything fresh and new.
Yep.
What
I've gone through
fruitcake,
the
what
exact,
literal fruitcake came up with that idea?
I went through the exact same thing. I had to make some of these gray colors when I was a cabinet maker, and some of them were so difficult to achieve. I called them like $1,000 gray because it cost me $1,000 to be able to match this stupid gray color that they
I
wanted.
call it transgender zombie gray because it's not real. It doesn't know what it wants to be. It's bizarre. Very, very bizarre. So it's literally death. I mean, everything great. Well, we're going back to the homogenized world again.
Yep.
Everything's the same. No, concrete's gray. I'm on a concrete gray floor and concrete gray walls. Yeah, that's fine with me. But gray wood inside, no, no. But outside, yes, it's going to turn gray eventually unless you add pigment and stain to it. If it's out in the sun.
Out in the sun, yeah. And
If it's
he
out
he
in the sun.
also he also asked, also, can you comment on the safety of the pigments?
So yes, our safety data sheets are on our website for all of our products. The pigments themselves are ferrous oxide, iron oxide. It's just literally iron rust. Now, you don't want to be inhaling the dust, all the time. I mean, that's not good. Any dust particle is not good to have and get in your lungs. It doesn't matter whether it's sawdust, sand, or pigment, or concrete dust, whatever it may be. You don't want to inhale the dust all the time. You don't want to be constantly exposed to dust. But the pigments are very safe. Now, food safety, I'm not an advocate for pigmenting food surfaces because every time you put your food on there, cut on it, move stuff around, you're going to get pigment in your food eventually. And I just, you don't need all that extra iron. You just don't. Okay.
There's
So
no
I don't advocate for it now. My competitors would say, yes, it's food safe. Our finishes are food safe, no problem. Yes, our colors are food safe. Yeah, we can say that by the industry standards they're food safe, but I'm going to tell you, no, don't put it on a food surface. What's the point? What
I
is the
wouldn't
point
put
in the
it.
first
I
place?
wouldn't put it on a cutting board or a bowl I'm going to drink from. And there's no
Now, our
practical
clear
function.
finishes, our regular oil, yes,
Yeah,
it's food
completely.
safe, completely food safe. Actually, our stuff is really, most of our ingredients are U.S. pharmacopoeia, which is the higher standard you can get in the industry.
Yeah.
Now, we don't go crazy over all these certifications and stuff, and it's because I don't believe in it. I don't believe in certifications because any clown company can get a certification now. You pay the 3,000, the 5,000, the 4,000. Sometimes they're only a few $100. Sometimes it can be as high as $15,000, $16,000 or $20,000. But the reality is that it's all BS anyway, because when Green Can Company gets all their safety certification and their green safety and their green guard and their food safety and their toy safety, I know it's all bullshit because I wouldn't even touch their finish.
Yep. It's got.
I wouldn't dare use their finish on anything because it's poison. So how the hell does that get certification for children, for toys? How does it get food safety certification? How does it get green guard certification?
Because they say that.
Because the agencies that are certifying them are full of shit too.
Yeah.
And they're in it for profit. And most of those agencies are owned by some of these giant mega chemical companies in the first place.
Kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah. This the big three. And the big three big chemical companies that supply most of the ingredients to all these little pseudo marketing companies. When I call the little marketing companies, I'm talking about Green Can Company. I'm talking about White Bird Company, Little Bird Company, the little black bird on the white can, on the little flower, such and the little bird on top, whatever they want to say. Okay. And the German guys with the little green leaf on their can, the Ono ones, the first hard wax oil. They all have these certifications and safety certifications, and they're all BS. So my thing, when I look at this, is when they all get caught and found out, and the certifying agencies get found out they're largely full of shit and they're deceiving the public. I don't want to be in that basket with them because I don't want to have to explain that. Yeah, they're poisoned, but I'm not. Yeah, but why'd you sign up for their certification? And you know it's all BS. Why'd you do it? Well, I didn't do it. Now we have one of our distributors got certification for toy safety, UN toy safety for us, and I'm happy they did. That's really nice of them. Um, I was asked to do it in the past. I didn't do it for that reason. The reasons I just said. Now that certification's on our website. Okay, we'll wear that badge. It's fine. I'm not going to tout it around like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread because it was really easy to get. It's a joke for us. Now, if all the other companies out there had to be held to our standard, they'd all fail. They'd all fail. I know one or two boutique companies that should pass. They should pass based on what I hear they're doing. And I commend them for it. But the sad truth is, none of those people will stand here with me and speak the way I am. That's what really pisses me off about them. I got a lot of guys that want to copy me and want to be us, but they won't stand next to us and back us up on what we're saying because they're so afraid of getting canceled. They're so afraid of losing the almighty dollar. They're so afraid that they're actually making the wrong choices.
And
And
afraid
the
that they'll
truth is,
pull
the
up them.
companies that are woke, that go along with this BS, all their BS, and play their old games and hop on the latest kick and the carbon credits and the this and that and I'm going to wear the
Virtue
mask and the
signal.
COVID and this and that. Those people don't realize that they're being frowned upon by a huge, huge portion of the population. Not 50%. I'm talking 70, 80%. That's the truth. That's why you see a lot of these companies backing off of being woke. That's why you see the beer company backing off of being woke. That's why you see the guys that make the bourbon, the American Bourbon Company, I'm not naming names, backing off on being woke. That's why you see some of the big car companies backing off and being woke, because they're realizing that the people have had enough of the bullshit. But that goes back. I'm gone a little rant, went off target there. But what's the matter, Tracy?
Someone's got some
Go ahead.
relative type. R. Hatchling is saying, what do you think about the latest ceramic fad?
Oh, I talked about it earlier. You must have signed in a little late. So R Hatch is asking about what do you think about the latest ceramic fad?
We have a blog on the website that will explain exactly our thoughts on it. But
Deadly poison. You don't want it anywhere near you. You don't want it near your family. You don't want it near anyone. Matter of fact, graphene oxide nanoparticles are so bad for you. It is disgusting. It's going to be worse than benzene. In the future, it is going to be worse than lead, worse than benzene, worse than any of the worst chemicals you ever heard, worse than DDT, worse than PTFEs, worse than all of them. And the reason why is the graphene nanoparticle is, they're like little nano-sized razor blades. They're the thickness of an atom. And that allows them to slice right into your cell walls and mutate your cell walls, your chromosomes. They slice right into the mitochondria of your cell and mutate your chromosomes. And when you have mutated chromosomes, your body does not know how to make healthy cells anymore. So it keeps making mutant cells. And it's a crapshoot. It makes a different mutant cell and a different one, a different one, a different one. And next thing you know, one day it gets the recipe for making a mutant cancer cell. And now you got cancer. So graphene nanoparticles are really bad. They get into everything. They're in the air now. They get into the water. They get into the animals in the streams. They mess up the fish. They mess up the amphibians. Everything. Okay? Really, really, really bad. They get into your lungs. I won't even let them use the graphene nano coatings. I will never let them use them in my cars anymore. In the early days, I bought my wife a beautiful Porsche in 2020, and they coated it with a ceramic coating. And I started doing the research on it, and I started learning. And I was like, oh my God. And I don't have that car anymore. We traded in. I got her an even nicer car now. And I wouldn't let them touch it with a ceramic coating. So bad stuff, completely irresponsible. And in fact, the people that are using it are poisoning everyone around them and themselves. And everyone that uses those surfaces. And the sad truth is, oh, Matthew, I'm sorry, I got something else to say about it. The sad truth is, they even recommend that you recoat them every year. Why? Because the graphene goes away. It gets in the environment, and it doesn't. It's a forever particle. You're screwed. So that's something that's screwing us all over right now. Really, really bad stuff. I hope I answered that question. Go ahead, Matthew. Sorry.
I was just going to say, Odie's doesn't need it either. You're far better off, with an
Well,
Odie's
you
finish.
don't have to redo your Odie surfaces every year, of course. So why the hell would you put something on it that you have to do every year?
Yeah.
And first, Odie's is going to outperform any of them anyway. Period. The way it goes. That stuff wears away and it's useless. It's literally a wax with graphene suspended in it. So it's a garbage wax that they don't even know how to make a good wax in the first place. And then they have to suspend graphene in it to get it to be repellent and to make it durable, which is silly. Hope that answers that question. Any more, Tracy?
Yeah, yes. It's about floors. Oh, Sockeye Ethan, my wife hates our Brazilian cherry floors. Am I able to use Odie's oil and a pigment to make them darker?
So I probably know why your wife hates it, because it's red. And she's going to change her mind probably in a few years when red comes back into style, and you're going to have to go and sand it and get it all red again. But whatever, you got to make your wife happy. Okay. So I have to make my wife happy as well. So it's really important. So there's several ways you can do that. Yes, you can mix pigments into the oil and change the color of the Brazilian cherry to any color you like. You can pull those red tones out of there. Greens and stuff work really well. Matthew can help you with that. He's really good with the colors. The other way is we used to sell a reactive. We don't do it anymore. The ferrous sulfate, and that will actually you can turn that Brazilian cherry gray, charcoal, almost black. You can do a lot of stuff with it. So it depends on how much ferrous sulfate you mix in the water that you put it in, compared to water. So whether you do like a 1 to 2,000 or a 1 to 80 or 1 to 4,000 or 1 to 6,000, depends on the dilution, and that would change the intensity of the gray, or how dark that gray is going to be. So, but you can also use pigment in it, no problem. So we've got a house that we bought here that, unfortunately, the builder that built it finished everything with polyurethane. It's hideous, but it's a beautiful home. We couldn't help from buying it. And we're getting ready to redo all of our floors and all the surfaces in there. And we have Kumaru floors in there. And there's also Brazilian cherry mixed in with the Kumaru, because the guy didn't know what he was doing. They didn't understand the difference between Kumaru and Brazilian cherry. So I'm going to leave those floors upstairs, and I'm going to stain them. And I'm probably going to stain them with our up in smoke, or our black, or our espresso, one of those three. And I might even do a ceruse on them.
Sounds good to me.
So yes, you can stain, no problem.
Nice ceruse.
So go ahead. Any more questions?
Mhm.
I think we talked a long time, Matthew. It's 5:30 here, my time, 6:30 your time. So
Yep. Yeah,
I
we're
think
about
it's
an
time
hour
to
and a
sign
half.
out. Okay, let's.
Does anyone know what they're talking about on TikTok, saying that you should be shoulder carried for donations? I have no clue what that is.
Shoulder carried for donations. I don't know what that is. We don't know, but we don't need donations. What we want you to do is buy our products, support us by buying our products, and we make the best finishes in the industry. And here's the lineup of all the colors. Some of the colors too. We got many colors, but you can make any color you want in the spectrum.
Yeah, and we always appreciate sharing the blogs and sharing the information. Spread the word, spread the good word.
So if you want to support us monetarily, purchase our products. If you want to support us, period, and let's say you just can't afford to buy finished right now, or you don't need to, read and share our blogs, and share our finishes handbook with someone that you know that can be saved by it. It's really important, really important. And even if the people don't really care about their own health, they should be concerned about the people around them, because those finishes that they're using are not only poisoning them, they're poisoning the people around them and the people that are using the
Yeah,
projects and the pieces that they're
other
making.
employees, other people in their working environment, and ultimately the customer, and then ultimately everybody else, because all that stuff degrades and ends up in the environment, and it's the planet.
Yep.
Accumulates.
Accumulates. Yeah. So these idiots are out there screaming, carbon, carbon, carbon. They're ignoring all the toxic chemicals and poisons that are in the land and outside that the chemical companies are pumping out.
Yeah,
I mean, we bought a big farm here, Matthew. Beautiful farm. It was a sod farm at one time. We're turning it into a tongue oil plantation, and we got tongue trees growing all over it. But I've owned it for now 3-4 years, and our soil here, hopefully, sod farms, I'm sure they use nasty stuff. I'm hoping this soil is getting cleaned out, because I do have to test some of it, because I do want to grow some food here as well. And I'm concerned about what's in the soil, because this was a sod farm. Now our water seems to be really good. We tested it for atrazine and all that stuff, and we haven't found anything in it. So, which is really good. We're lucky. And
yeah, that's
atrazine is
good.
another really bad chemical. That's a hormone disruptor, just
Yeah,
like the BPA that's in the epoxies, just like
yeah,
the BPA that's in the phenolic linings in cans
Doesn't it make
and milk cartons. It's in chip containers. It's in pretty much everything. Yeah, it's a
yeah.
hormone disruptor. Yeah, and it does make the frogs gay.
That's what I said.
It does. We're losing large populations of species of frogs all over the world because of atrazine.
Do you know how bad
Because
that is?
it turns the male frogs, they don't like the females anymore, and they literally try to mate with males, and then they can't reproduce, so we lose the frogs.
Yep.
You ever notice you don't hear frogs in the city?
One of the first signs that an environment is
sick.
going bad is when your frog population.
One of the first signs, a good sign of a healthy environment is when you have a lot of frogs and there's noisy frogs. We got a lot of noisy frogs around here.
I have a lot of noisy frogs here because I
Good.
own a conservation area at the bottom of my property, all
That's good.
protected waterway. You can't even go down there at night, like in certain times of the year, because it's so loud on the ears, the frogs.
So I'm going to say something controversial. Hold on, Tracy. I'm going to let you ask me this question. So the fact that we have hormone disruptors in pretty much all of our food packaging, everybody's drinking bottled water out of plastic bottles. Worst thing you can do, hormone disruptors in there. BPA is a horrible, it's a synthetic estrogen, really bad. All of a sudden, we got this huge transgender movement and all this movement of you know, how can I say it?
There are scientists questioning it.
Sexuality just crossing over into all things. The sad truth is now, I don't have anything against people that their preferences or anything. I don't have any problems with that. But there's a huge boom of it. Makes you wonder. Well, it doesn't make you wonder. What it really is, the big boom in it is caused by a lot of the hormone disruptors that are in all of our packaging and our finishes and our coatings and our food and our pesticides, all the chemicals, the pharmaceuticals they give us, all of that. It's the God's honest truth. It's a sensitive issue for some people, and but it really shouldn't be.
It is it's fact that it's changing hormones, right? It's lowering sperm counts, testosterones, like all
Think
these.
about what a
all these things.
badass your granddaddy was. Think about what a badass your father is. And think about how soft all your friends are. Think about how soft we may be. Think about how passive the men of society are today as opposed to what they used to be. My granddaddy wouldn't have put up with the BS that's going on in the world right now. My grandfather, his brothers, his friends, all that, and all the men in the country didn't put up with all the bullshit that the government's throwing at us. The government wouldn't be doing what they're doing. So maybe there's a reason why there's all these hormone disruptors in the water and our food and everything. Maybe they want to pacify us so that we don't speak out and stand up against them.
It's just a thought.
Well, it's not just a thought. If you really look at history, the U.S. government and the military experimented that way. They were experimenting. They did it to Hitler. Hitler was a monster, a demon. They actually were giving him estrogen to try to calm him down. Actually, it made him crazy. But they perfected it. They perfected it now. And this is what we got. You all heard the term soy boy. Some people have heard me use it. so soy is another one. Soy is a hormone disruptor. Most people don't realize that. Edamame is phytoestrogen. There's tons of phytoestrogen in it. Another thing is, beer. We all love beer. All this men, beer, men's drink, beer. Well, if you really think about it, one of the highest estrogen loads of anything that we consume is beer. And then on top of it, the beer cans that they put the beer in today are lined with BPA-coated liners. And BPA, bisphenol A, is a synthetic estrogen. And now you're also getting a synthetic estrogen and a phytoestrogen at the same time. And that's why beer makes men puffy, get big bellies, they get big round face. And the reality is, beer's not for tough guys. Beer doesn't make you tough. Actually, beer softens you. Now, tough guys like to drink beer. Yeah, I like to drink beer. I love Guinness, my favorite thing. One of my favorite drinks. But I always, if you see me drinking Guinness, I drink it out of a bottle.
Yep.
I don't buy it out of the can anymore because of, and there may be a BPA liner in there. I'm not sure, but most cans have BPA liners, just about all of them. Okay, what were you going to ask me?
Well, someone commented you were talking about your trying to get your soil cleaned out on the farm, and John
Different crops.
is saying plant sunflowers. They suck the toxins from the soil.
Okay, let's do it.
Sunflowers are beautiful. I love
Let's load the fields up with sunflowers.
I have sunflowers back here. Jessica planted a bunch of sunflowers. I've got some that are 12, 13 feet tall. They're crazy.
Cool.
And one of
That's where you put your garden next year. Put your garden where you planted the sunflowers because
I have the sunflowers in the garden. I have corn growing there. My corn's 10 feet tall. It's crazy.
So one of the other things that's happened, most people can relate to. You see it on the news all the time. This chemical's bad. That chemical's bad. Now they're telling you that seed oils are bad for you. Well, yeah. Back in the day, our grandparents used lard and tallow, and they cooked in bacon fat and all that stuff, and they were strong and healthy. And look at us all today. We're probably the sickest America's ever been.
Yeah, I
Um,
only use olive and avocado oil.
so today, for a long time, they were pushing seed oils. Seed oils, this oil, that, the omega-6, and they find out that's actually worse for your heart than anything.
Yep.
Hey, Jay.
Fluorosillic acid is good for your teeth. It makes your teeth hard. The kids need fluoride. Now they're finding out that fluoride makes them stupid. It lowers their IQ.
But they have hard teeth.
And then it also, actually, it's not even good for your teeth. It's not good for your bones. It makes your bones brittle. And then also, it's a hormone disruptor. It causes cancer, all kinds of stuff. And now they're publicly admitting it. They can't hide it because the studies came out and the truth got out, and now they have to admit it. This happens all the time. So people, quit being sold a bill of goods, quit being lied to, and don't even take our word for it. But we did give you a whole bunch of research and a whole bunch of blogs on the subjects. You can read them. You can do the research yourself, and hopefully you get something good to take away from it. Go ahead, Bruce.
And you can make all the money in the world, but you can never buy back time or health.
That's right. You can make all the money in the world. You can never buy back time or health. That's correct, Bruce. That is correct. So
Yep.
don't stop poisoning yourself.
You want to answer one more question?
Yes, one more question, then we got to go.
Yeah, Slater's Wood Shop. Are you selling any of your wood slabs?
Who's he asking?
I'll tell you what,
Yes,
Slater's Wood Shop. Yeah, so you might be asking both of us. Matthew, Matthew might want to sell some of his. I'm not really interested in selling mine. I got bigger fish to fry. I got this business to
You
run.
have a lot more wood than I do, James. So you
Yeah, I got a couple $1 million worth of wood in the warehouse. If you want really nice slabs, go see Rocky at West Penn
Rocky.
Hardwoods
Yeah.
in Conover, North Carolina. He's got the biggest selection in the country. I think he's got about 280,000 square feet of warehouse. Great guy, personal friend of mine. He's not expensive. I've heard a couple of guys, oh, he's expensive. Like, no, he's not.
Not
Actually,
compared to a lot of the other guys
I
out
know
there.
what he pays for the wood overseas and what he sells it for, and he makes a very small profit on it. And in fact, good luck getting it cheaper and getting a high quality. So Rocky over at West Penn's got just about any species you want. So go see him. And I would, I might sell some of my stuff, but I'm always going to tell you, hey, go see Rocky. He's going to serve you better. He's going to give you better stuff. He's going to give you more. He's going to have more variety, and and he's going to have a constant supply. So my collection now is kind of like an investment. It's something I'm keeping for myself, and I want to teach my son how to make some pieces out of it. Matthew's going to come down, make pieces. Bruce and I will go in the shop. We'll do videos and tutorials, and to teach our customers and to do more live streams on some large and beautiful. That's going to be coming in the future. We've got some great news. Matthew's got his wood shop up. He's finishing up his wiring, and
Yep.
I think that'll all be done next week. And then he'll be
It will.
getting in the shop, and he'll be doing regular tutorials
Yep.
and finishing tutorials, and he'll be showing off tools and techniques. And when we do these live streams like this, he'll be in the shop sometimes, and I'll be talking, he'll be talking, and hopefully I'll get in my shop again soon, and we'll be doing the same there. Like I said, we bought another building here to have a whole TV studio in there and do wood. So hope that answers everybody's questions. Appreciate everybody joining us. If you liked our discussion, please like and subscribe and follow us. And we do this on a weekly basis. Matthew and I try to meet up on camera about once a week. In the next live stream, Matthew, I'd like us to schedule it, announce it a couple of days ahead of time, so that people
I
can
have a
join.
whole system. I'm going to talk with Tracy about that with for an email blast and the setup and everything. So yeah, that's what we're going to do going forward.
So those of you that watched, those of you that tuned in, or those of you that we may have offended, we don't not here to offend anybody. We're on everyone's side. We're on the side of humanity. Okay. We are here for the health and the betterment of everyone. We want to see everyone have healthy lives. And we actually just happen to know about the finishing industry. And, I've been an insider for a long time in the lumber industry and the finishing industry. So, I kind of feel it's my duty to share what I know with you. And we do this this doesn't make us money. In fact, we got some people that hate us because we do this. But the reality is, I'd rather speak the truth and teach people about what they're being exposed to and how to avoid being exposed to poison and how to make their lives healthier, no matter who they are, what orientation they have, what political aspect or political side of the spectrum they're on. I want everyone to be healthy, because what makes this world beautiful is all the individuals that are here and how different we all are. And and if we all get homogenized because the powers that be want us all to put us in the same box so we're easy to control because we're all in one box, okay? It's not going to be it's going to be a pretty lifeless, boring, dull hell,
Yeah.
literally. What makes this world beautiful are all of us freaks, literally. We're all different. I know I'm a freak. I'm a different kind of guy, okay? And Matthew's different than me, and Bruce is different than me, and Tracy's, and all of us are different. And that's a wonderful thing and not a problem. But take care of yourselves. And there is true evil out there. There's true evil in this world. There are a lot of dangerous things. And there are some really bad people that don't give a crap about you, and they just want your money.
Yep.
And they want to keep you enslaved in their system. And literally, some of these guys think about it for a whole lifetime of enslavement. They poison you with this, and then they get you on their medication to fix the poison that they gave you. And
They
then you're
don't
stuck on that medication for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. They don't fix it. They just what's the word? It's not a
Make it
cure.
worse.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Make it worse.
Well, I just read an article the other day about big tobacco. You sent it to me, Matthew. Big tobacco literally wound up buying all the food and snack food companies.
I didn't
So
know
they
that.
use the same crap, the same addictive chemicals and ingredients that they were putting in cigarettes to make you addicted to cigarettes. They put it into your favorite snack. So now you're hooked on that favorite snack. You're the one that sent me that, right, Matthew?
No, you shared it with me. I'm not sure who sent it to you originally, but it's bang on.
That's and they're a lot smarter than you think, and they actually think you're pretty stupid. That's the sad thing. The sad truth, they think we're all really dumb. But people are starting to wake up. And you're seeing it all over the world. People, all sides of the spectrum, actually, people are coming together to fight against the overarching powers that be. And some of these guys have their hands in every freaking thing, like Bill Gates. All right, Matthew. Thanks for joining. Let's get
Yeah,
out. Let's get out of here.
just 1 second. 9510 on Instagram. Send a DM and I will answer your question.
Okay. Good, Matthew. I'm heading out.
Yep. Okay. Good talking to you as always, James. Thank you everybody for joining. Like and subscribe to see more, and we'll see you out here on the next one.
See you.
All right. Ciao.